Tom Cruise video that is resurfaced, and New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, or at least I think that's how you say her name, walking into Blackrock in New York City. But first, let's watch that resurfaced Tom Cruise viral video.
That psychiatry is a pseudoscience.
But Tom, if she said that this particular thing helped her feel better, whether it was the antidepressant or going to a counselor or a psychiatrist, isn't that enough?
Matt, you have to understand this. Here we are today, where I talk out against drugs and psychiatric abuses of electric shocking people, okay, against their will, of drugging children with them not knowing the effects of these drugs. Do you know what Adderall is? Do you know Ritalin? Do you know now that Ritalin is a street drug? Do you understand that?
The difference is this was not against her will, though.
Matt,
this wasn't against
asking you a
Brooke's will.
question. Matt, I'm asking you a question.
I understand there's abuse of all of these things.
No, you see, here's the problem. You don't know the history of psychiatry. I do.
Aren't there examples, and might not Brooke Shields be an example of someone who benefited from one of those drugs?
All it does is mask the problem, Matt. And if you understand the history of it, it masks the problem. That's what it does. That's all it does. You're not getting to the reason why. There is no such thing as a chemical imbalance.
So postpartum depression to you is
Matt,
kind of a little psychological gobbledygook?
No, I did not say that.
I'm just asking what would you call it?
Matt, that is the post. Now you're talking about two different things.
But that's what she went on the antidepressant for.
But what happens, the antidepressant, all it does is mask the problem. There's ways of vitamins and through exercise and various things. I'm not saying that that isn't real. That's not what I'm saying. That's an alteration of what I'm saying. I'm saying that drugs aren't the answer. That these drugs are very dangerous. They're mind-altering drugs. And there are ways of doing it without that so that we don't end up in a brave new world. The thing that I'm saying about Brooke is that there's misinformation, okay? And she doesn't understand the history of psychiatry. She doesn't understand in the same way that you don't understand it, man.
Do you examine the possibility that these things do work for some people? That yes, there are abuses, and yes, maybe they've gone too far in certain areas. Maybe there are too many kids on Ritalin. Maybe electric shock.
Too many kids on Ritalin, Matt.
I'm just saying. But aren't there examples where it works?
Matt, you don't even. You're glib. You don't even know what Ritalin is.
What's going on, folks? Thank you guys for being here. So I've seen that clip all over Facebook, Instagram. It's clearly an older clip from NBC, and it's like a big pharma psychiatric debate between Tom Cruise and the host. I'd like to see the whole thing. I'll have to look for it later. But basically, he's trying to say that, and I'm sure, I'm thinking now, I'm like, the fact checkers are going to run to this, be like, fact check, pharma is amazing. Fact check, take pills, fact check, more pills. It's like, I'm like, oh my gosh. Now I'm like, should I have even covered this topic? But, that aside, he's taking like a pretty serious anti-drug, anti-pharma stance, saying there's too many kids on Ritalin, like people are taking drugs to mask the problem, but it doesn't get to the root of it. And, I have a few things to say on that, but first I want to tell you an interesting fact that I think a lot of people aren't going to know about the background of this. As people do know, Tom Cruise is a Scientologist. I believe he still is. He definitely was then. And he kept saying, you don't know the history of psychiatry. I do. She doesn't know the history of psychiatry. I do. I believe what he's referencing is a museum that I've been to that actually is a really good museum. I'm just going to read it real quick. It's called Psychiatry and Industry of Death Museum. It's on Sunset Avenue in Hollywood. I used to live over there, so I've been to that museum. It's actually amazing. I don't care what you think about Scientologists. We can talk about that later. This is one of the greatest museums I've ever been to. It documents psychiatry throughout history. It goes through World War I, World War II. It goes through Big Pharma. Like a museum, they have like pictures of timelines of how many pharmaceutical drugs were being taken in 1960, how many pharmaceutical drugs are being taken in 1970, 80, 90. And you could just see this crazy increase of people weren't taking that many pharmacy pills and weren't on that many drugs. And when they introduced every psychiatry drug, from like lobotomy of the 1900s to like, pharma overhaul of the 90s. It seriously is a fascinating museum, and I'm guessing because Tom Cruise is a Scientologist himself, he's been to that museum many times, and I guess they probably teach that in Scientology as well. Scientology is very anti-drug, very anti-pharma. I believe that that museum that I was referencing, that I think Tom was referencing, is connected to one of the biggest watchdog organizations in the country, where I believe Scientologists work there and try to stop kids in schools from taking so many pharmacy pills. I know I've told this story a few times, but they were going to put me on Ritalin or Adderall, and my mom came in and put the block, thank God, and was like, he doesn't need anything. He, because my mom was like a hard ass. She never said, oh, you're a victim. My mom was super hard on me. It was like almost maybe too hard, but not really, but I appreciate it. It's like, do your math homework. So they're like, oh, he needs drugs because he can't pay attention. My mom's like, he'll pay attention. He doesn't need drugs. And thank God my mom did that, because I didn't need Ritalin. I didn't need Adderall. I didn't need pharmacy pills jammed down my throat. What I needed to do was, one, pay attention, but also, in my defense, I'm very, very, I would say, hardworking. Now, in school, I wasn't. Got to wake up at 5 a.m., do a bunch of classes you don't care about. I don't science, this, I'm saying math, geology, political science. Not everybody cares about everything. So, school is nice to learn a little bit of everything, but in reality, when you turn 30, you don't do 50,000 things, most likely. You do one thing. You work at a dentist's office. You're a plumber. You drive a truck. And you're not expected to know when George Washington did this, or, everybody's not meant to do everything. So, in my defense, I'm lefty, I'm kind of creative and out there, and I didn't really pay attention in school. I didn't need pharmacy pills. What I needed was to grow up and learn what my passion was and what I was meant to do, what I believe God gave me the tools to do, and it took, my 20s to figure that out. So what I'm saying is, thank God my mom put the pharmacy kibosh on the school, and Tom Cruise and Scientologists, whether you love them or not, they get that completely. Also, I lived in Los Angeles for a while, and Scientologists were my neighbors in some cases. They own a lot of real estate in LA. I'm just giving you an alternate perspective of what the media won't tell you. I'm just giving you a disclaimer. I'm not a Scientologist. I never joined. I'm sure that there are things that happen. The documentary is one thing. I know everybody has like the most negative view, but I just want to give you my personal view of how they were as like neighboring buildings. They cleaned up Los Angeles and Hollywood more than anybody else I've ever seen. They always had cleaning crews. They clean up. Super nice. In 2017, I would say most of the ones I talked to supported Trump, and they were super like pretty epic. Like they understood the pharma psyop. They're pretty cool. And all of them seem to have really good attitudes and really like good energy, because not in Scientology, I don't know exactly what they're doing, but I could kind of tell just from talking to a few people, they're teaching people how to do eye contact, like social sciences. It's like they're giving you a lot of resources, and I think the downsides are, they're always asking for money. I think, it's like money. They're always like trying to get a dollar, and also, I've heard the negatives and stuff, but I just wanted to give an alternate view, because I'm not somebody who just follows society. Oh, well, if they hate them, I hate them. I hate those supporters. I'm like, my personal experience that they were super chill, super, on it, and I'll take an ally when it comes to understanding the deception and the over prescribing of big pharma in this country. Tom Cruise totally gets it, and I just wanted to give you a background, because I doubt anybody who saw that video will know that I think he was referencing the museum that they have on Sunset Boulevard, which, once again, fantastic museum dedicated to just showing how psychiatry has changed over in America over the years, and how, our country has been swallowed alive by big pharma. I'm not telling you I'm your doctor. I'm not saying to do what I say. That's not at all. I'm just saying, if you look at it through the course of history and you just see how people are more obese than they've ever been, mental illness is a massive problem. They're throwing pills at everyone all the time, always pill. I'm not saying all pills are bad, or you should listen to me over your doctor. I'm just saying, I think Big Pharma has lobbied both sides of politics. Fact check true. They're the number one lobbyist in Washington. They pay Trump, they pay Biden, they pay Purdue, they pay, Ossoff, they pay the Democrats and the Republicans. So it's like, they're such, they've taken over our country, and everything they do isn't 100% perfect. It's like, let's just make a buck. And I appreciate Tom Cruise for that, that little rant. I don't know when it was from. I have my own perspective on everything. I don't feel like getting fact checked, because it was a debate between NBC, but he's not alone in that. Scientologists, I believe, are super anti-pharma and all drugs. They're very hardline stance against that. Next topic, and I'll read some comments at the end, guys, if you guys want to interject, maybe you have a different opinion. One thing I want to say, before I move to this New Zealand Prime Minister at Blackrock, I do want to say this with the Leah Remini documentary, because that's one of the most cited things. And once again, I would tell you if I was a Scientologist or anything, I'm really not. I'm not a Scientologist. This is just my third view perspective of seeing like the good and the bad and everything. I watched not all, but a lot of the Leah Remini documentary of her smearing Scientology. And one reason that I felt like she wasn't telling the whole story, and I'm not saying that bad things didn't happen. I don't know. I wasn't there. Every industry has corruption. There's bad people. So I'm not trying to downplay her story. But one thing I did notice when she was talking, and just like I said, I've seen Scientologists. I know a few. Leah Remini was like, in her own words, she was basically saying, I didn't have a lot going for me. They essentially like took me off the streets. I'm paraphrasing, taught me all this stuff. I got on television, blah, 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 and it got all bad. And then I tried to leave. And this is all I'm saying. I'm not downplaying her struggles or anything she dealt with. I don't know. I wasn't there. But what I will say is if you had nothing, right, you went to the Scientologist, right, they gave you all these resources. I know that they teach people eye contact. They teach people how to act. They have classes that are probably just as good, if not, I would say they're probably better than college. Instead of learning drag queen story hour and how, social sciences of how many genders there are, they actually teach people in Scientology like real life things that are actually way more helpful in my opinion. I've never taken a course, but I'm an observer. I'm not a hater. So I'm like, I see what they're doing, some good stuff in there for sure. But also I'm sure there's some not good stuff. But anyway, Leah Remini seems so ungrateful in her whole thing. Like they took you off the street. You had nothing. They taught you how to act, probably taught you how to make eye contact, then you got this huge show. And now 10 years later, you're like, F them. I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to leave. I'm not saying they should stalk you and do weirdo stuff. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, do you not have an ounce of gratefulness that you pretty much use them to get famous? I'm not saying they own you for the rest of their life. I'm not saying, all the stuff that followed is right. I'm just saying the fact that she completely lacked gratefulness and didn't even give them credit for taking her from here to here and getting her to the position to be a famous actress, to me, it shows a lack of gratefulness, so I don't fully trust it. That's just my take. Unpopular, not the mainstream, but most people act like sheep. It's not even a political thing. It's like everybody just believes what they hear and see and follows along to the narrative. But in my perspective, the reason the media hates Scientology so much is because they have an anti-pharma, in many cases, very awake and I would say more right-wing conservative truther vibes than a lot of people. I'm not saying they're perfect. I don't know exactly what they're up to at the high or even mid or low levels because it's not my thing, but my experience with them has not been as bad as others. I'm just being honest. I can't lie. All right, next story, and I'll read your comments after. Jacinda Ardern, the New Zealand Prime Minister who smiles like the Cheshire Cat. I don't like to make fun of people's, physical features or smiles, but she just looks like devious and demonic when she smiles. Here's her leaving Blackrock in New York City.
Open more doors to trade.
Prime Minister, how's your day going?
Oh, it's busy but fantastic.
Like the doors to $10 trillion investment firm BlackRock. But Ardern is not just a brand ambassador, she's the Prime Minister with power, and those she's meeting know it.
So if you guys don't know what BlackRock is, they are, I'm just reading on Wikipedia, they're in technically an American multinational investment management corporations based in New York. They have $10 trillion assets. If you look into like BlackRock and Vanguard, they own almost everything. It's like they're invested in almost every company, every product. They're massive. It's pretty crazy. Nobody talks about it, but it's fascinating stuff. And I don't even know what to do about it or what they're doing. It's like, is that capitalism? Are they up to something? I don't know. But just pretty interesting that the New Zealand Prime Minister's walking out of their offices. What are they doing? In their own words, I watched the earlier part of that little news clip, and they said, trying to establish better trade relations between America and New Zealand. But definitely just worth a look and pretty fascinating stuff. But, we already know that a lot of these global leaders, that's what they do. If you're rich in business, you meet with politicians. If you're, a big wig in any country, you go to the World Economic Forum and you hang out. It's like the Coachella for rich people and politicians. So, that's just what it is. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to read some stuff. I might go back to the Scientology stuff. I know a lot of people said, move on, but I really don't want to move on. So I'll just read some and then comment on anything you guys want. I'm going to hang out for like 10, 20 minutes. Someone said, wow, ungrateful you didn't watch the show. You're not listening to what I'm saying. I did actually watch the show. I'm just saying she didn't seem very grateful for them taking her from here to here. I'm not, I'm that type of way. Like, this is just my personal perspective. Even my parents and stuff, things that happened, not everything was perfect, but I'm not one of these wimps that sits there and says, it's like, hey, I had a lot of hard things happen in my life. Some things were intense, but I'm grateful for the journey. I'm grateful for everything my mom and dad did. I'm grateful for struggles along the way. And if I were Leah Remini, I would be grateful for the fact that they took me in with like nothing, taught me all this stuff. Then I got a television show, and then maybe they got too much and did too much, and then I left. But I didn't hear that from her. So I'm just being honest. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to believe me. That's just how I feel. It's like even someone that you dislike from your past do you have anything nice to say about them? Did they do, most people don't agree with me. Most people are just like, that's just how I feel though. Someone said, watching in Ireland, keep up the good work. Epic. Shout out Ireland. Very cool. I've been watching Conor McGregor clips recently and just like UFC stuff, so it reminds me of Ireland. I know that's kind of generic, but it's pretty epic. Someone said Dianetics is so weird. It's not my thing. It's not my religion. It's not my tribe. I've never read it, although I've probably been sold it 50 times because you walk in Hollywood enough, they're trying to get you in the Scientology Center all the time. They're pretty heavy salesmen. But I'm not sitting here. If I was a Scientologist, I would defend them. I don't know what they're doing completely, but I will say, like I told you, they do a lot more against Pharma than a lot of other people. So I appreciate it. I know it's not popular, but I legitimately don't care. I lived around them for 7 years. They clean the streets more than anybody. I like Scientologists more than I like Jimmy Kimmel. I like Scientologists more than I like, NBC. I'm sorry, I just do. So it's like, are they the worst people in the country? No. If they were the worst people in the country, they'd be praised on television all the time. So not saying everything they're doing is great. They're definitely selling all the time. It's like, buy. I think if you join and leave, they can be a little pushy. That's an understatement. But, there's a reason you've only heard 100% negative about them and 0% positive. This is the balance. Get mad at me. Consider this the balance. Your whole life, all you've heard is 10 million negative things about them. You probably never heard one positive thing about them. You learned something today. So, I'm not saying you have to like them or agree with what they're doing, but I just want to give people an alternate view of different things that they're doing. Someone said it's a cult. It's definitely like a religion / tribe / very culty in a way. But, everybody has some sort of tribe, whether it's family, religion. You could say going to church is culty and praying, and it does seem very culty, right? Everybody prays together and says like weird words. But if you're Christian, that's your tribe, right? That's your religion. It's like Scientology. It's just a more aggressive marketing scheme. There's a reason they make so much money. It's like they sell. I'm fascinated by it. It's not my thing, but if you don't bother me, I'm not going to sit here and smear you just because the media did. That's just my personal opinion. But once again, someone said all religions are a cult to one degree or another. I get if you're not Christian or you're not Muslim and you go into a mosque or a church and you got 10,000 people sitting there, it looks crazy, But if you're in it, you're like, that's my tribe, right? That's my religion. So the difference between Scientology and besides the fact that it's not really, it's like a newer religion, man-made or whatever, is also the fact that they're like marketing like crazy. They're doing wild stuff. I guess Christianity does too. You got to make money to build churches and stuff. So I don't know. What's their stance on mandatory jabs? I can almost guarantee you that they're against them. I'm not sure. I've met Scientologists, every one of them, like Donald Trump in 2017, every one of them was against drugs. They don't do any drugs. They're super hardline stance against drugs. They're anti-abortion. I can almost guarantee you they're anti-mandatory vaccination because they don't even like pharma that much. Why would they want a pharma shot mandatory for them and their so? That's what I'm saying. Same with the Nation of Islam. While I'm unpopular, the Nation of Islam took a hardline pharma stance too. I appreciate that. It's not my tribe. It's not my people. It's not my, in many cases, they're a different race than me. But hey, it is what it is. As long as you're not bothering me, I'm not saying I'm going to let you be wicked and do all this stuff. But, I don't believe what the media tells me. I believe my personal experiences. So if I live around Scientologists for 8 years and they're cleaning my neighborhood when everyone else is shitting on the ground, I don't do what they do, but it's like my neighbor, appreciate it. Thanks for cleaning up the neighborhood. Just, don't try to catch me in a Ponzi scheme or something. But besides that, it's like my personal experience to say they're not as bad as what the media said. So, That's what it is. Someone said Christianity's not a cult. I'm not saying it's a cult. I'm just saying to an outsider that's not Christian, it can feel culty. So, before you throw accusations at others, just remember there's going to be people that look at that and say that's. But if you're a secure Christian, who cares what other people think, right? If someone says, like, people have said that to me, oh, praying is really culty, like, then don't pray. I'm going to pray. I'm going to get around 100 people and say a prayer. Some people don't want to do it, but that's, it doesn't bother me as a Christian. That's your life, I can't make you say a prayer. I don't want to. I like saying the prayer. I like being around people saying the same thing. It feels good. It feels powerful. But if someone else says it's a cult, I'm just not fazed by other people's opinions or perspectives. Like, you could, there's people that have joined Scientology and probably had bad experiences. There are people that have joined and had great experiences. And, this is what I will say personally as somebody that, does like just news and has people that know me and stuff. I'm not trying to act so special, but at a certain point, people love to hate on each other. It's like, oh, I'm going to leave that organization. It's like, this is human nature. Every company, every organization, Republicans, Hispanic, you get what I'm saying? There's always going to be someone that leaves and talks shit. That's just the reality of any sort of thing, Oh, I'm leaving Tesla. I'm going to frame Elon Musk. I'm leaving the GOP. I'm Joe Walsh. Now I'm a Democrat, and oh, they're so bad. There's always going to be those who stray and try to frame everything as negative. So I'm just very skeptical of everything. It's not to say I don't believe certain people, but it's like, if you're running a religion/business with like tens of thousands of people or millions of people involved, there's going to be people that say bad things about you and good things. So I don't just believe every bad thing about, anything without further scrutinizing. Someone said Scientology kept John Travolta working. Here's what I want to say, okay? And people might get upset, but you've heard all the bad about Scientology. I'm sure that there are, to an extent, some of it is true. I'm not saying none of it's true. I highly doubt that there's nothing bad in it. Of course, everything is like the yin and the yang. Nothing's perfect. Everybody's human. But what I do want to say is I'm just letting people know that don't get upset by this. There's a reason people join. It's not all predatory. A lot of it is like, give me your money, give me your money, give me your money. It's a little obnoxious for sure, but they're teaching people so much stuff. I bet they've taught Tom Cruise a lot. I bet they taught Leah Remini a lot. I bet they taught John Travolta a lot. There's a lot of value there. There's a lot of networking. There's a lot of industry people. They have a lot of millionaires. They have a lot of money. They have some of the nicest real estate in Hollywood. They have acting classes, this class, that class. So it is a giant tool that you can use. It's just, like people said, it's a religion/tribe, and it seems like, one, they constantly want your money and want you to buy things and give them money. That's how you level up. And two, they seem a little, aggressive when you try to leave or say no, which is a marketing tactic, that they take to the extreme. So that's just what it is. If you're humble enough to be like, all right, I never knew that about it, that's fine. I'm not saying it's great. You don't got to love it, but it's not all terrible. They're teaching people a lot of important stuff. That's why a lot of them are super successful, super good at acting. A lot of them learn that in Scientology. Someone said it's what you take from it. For sure. They have a lot of resources. That's all I'm saying. They've fused like, their new age religion with like a bunch of courses and business. They're not stupid. Let's see. Oh, for Tom to go anti-BP to demanding masks and jabs on his set, I haven't seen that. Did Tom Cruise do that? Was he demanding that people wear masks? If he was, that's super corny. So I don't know. Maybe he's changed. Maybe he, like, a lot of celebrities got brainwashed. They're just so rich and powerful. I don't know. The mask and the vaccine thing, I think, really transcended politics, because a lot of people, it's like, this virus. I know conservatives that were super pro-mask. I'm sure there were people in every religion that went mask crazy. So I'm not trying to sell it like it's the greatest thing in the world. Of course, there are going to be people in it that don't agree with me on stuff. So I'm not too sure. But if he did that, that's super whack for sure. Someone said Batman made Robin wear a mask. I know. Batman was the original CDC. He made Robin wear a mask. Robin's like, I can't breathe with my mask on, Batman. How am I going to fight crime if I can't breathe? And Batman was like, Fact check, you can breathe fine. Fact check, your Facebook needs to be taken down. Robin, you can breathe. You can breathe great. He's like, no, I really can't, Batman. He's like, it's starting to hurt my face. I think I'm getting acne. Fact check, you can't get acne from forced masking. Fact check, it's great for your skin. It's even better than the air. It's like, they're so annoying, those little lemons. We'll just call them little lemons, little Don Lemons running around. Thank you, Region 9. I appreciate it. Robin had a lot of ladies. Well, I mean, you hang out with Batman, you're going to get some women for sure. You know, there's very few things cooler than hanging out with Batman and just being Robin. You know, it's good to be number two sometimes. You know, everybody can't be the star all the time. Robin, you stay in your lane. You know what I'm saying? Help out when you can. And, you know, don't take off your shoes before you enter the house. You don't want to get it too dirty. Someone said Tom may not have had a choice with masking. He might have had liability, and Hollywood is unionized. Agreed, but also, you know, not an excuse for me. I think that could be true, B-Sweet. This is my personal thing, is I think everybody was bullied, and if everybody would have said no at the same time, we could have avoided a lot of stuff, but everybody caved because everyone's afraid of money. I kind of took this stance, I don't care what you take from me. I don't care if you take my money. I don't care if you take my job. I'm not going to, you know, I can't in my conscience force other people to do this against their will. I think it's so evil to force workers, mask workers. When I see workers masked, it's like, I'm not masked. I don't have to be masked. They're being forced by their boss or corporation. It's like a new age serfdom. You know, you're the serf, you're the worker. You put on the thing on your face, you know, hide your smile, hide your nose, you know, muffle your voice. It's evil. I wouldn't do it for $1 million. So I hear what you're saying. If, you know, Tom might have just had to do it, but I won't make excuses for that. Let's see. Someone said Pentecostal apostolic churches, this is Derek, said, are very cult-like. They have so many rules and things you can't do. They tell women they have to wear dresses or they'll go to hell. It's kind of based. There's absolutely nothing in the Bible that says women have to wear dresses. I could go on, but it's pointless. I got you. So they're making up their own rules. I'm not 100% sure with Pentecostal and whatever the other one is called. But yeah, you know, there's definitely different strokes for different folks. But I think discipline is good, but I guess you got to find your tribe. You know, if that's not a rule that you want to follow, then that's not your tribe. I guess I try not to judge as much as I possibly can, because I feel like, you know, someone said that's not true. All right, I was just reading a comment. That's not coming from like anything that I know, but I don't know. I think discipline is good. You know, as a woman, discipline is good. As a man, discipline is good. So I don't know the full story of what's going on there or different denominations, but I guess now it's like there's liberal pride parade, you know, churches, and it's like Black Lives Matter churches. It's like, you know, they can go one way or the other, but I guess I kind of prefer the ones that have more discipline. So, you know, I'm not going to disrespect any denomination that draws a hardline stance. I'm not going to call it a cult, but it's just a tribe with rules. So, you know, everybody has rules, and some people have extreme rules. Someone said that's not true at all. Yeah, this is why reading comments is a little iffy, because then I don't know enough about the topic, but I don't know. We'll move on. So that needs to be decided. You could look up if that's even a rule. I'm sure it's a rule in maybe some denominations, like, you know, even some Baptists. Certain Baptists like go really hard in the paint. Others, you know, not as hard. So let's read. Someone said easily impressed. I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're referring to. Wasn't Cruise just busting balls? I don't know. You know, I don't want to speak on the Tom Cruise stuff because I don't 100% really know how much he was enforcing it. I don't know that story as well. Wendy said, watch the interview with Joe Rogan and Leah Remini. She had a go good with Scientology. I'll check it out. I watched her documentary. I watched a good portion of it. I understand that there's some sketchy stuff there. I'm just telling you my perspective from, you know, you don't take it or leave it. You could leave it, but I bet you learned something new. Someone said, I'm just trying to find out if the new movie is good. I heard it was good, but I don't know. It's like movies recently have been so bad that it's probably just, if it's not, if it's not like rainbow flag, they're like, you know, it's like based in like the 1400s, and they just have like every race hanging out together, and it's like that. It's not even like historically true. You know, people are like, are you racist? Like, bro, you can't tell a story. You can't tell. It's like the founding fathers are black. It's like it's fine. I'm not like crying about it, but it's not historically accurate. It's like doing like a, you know, a recent Africa documentary and using like Tom Cruise. It's like, what? But no, I'm sure it was probably better than recent movies that are like extra politically correct. Someone said, I hate movies, but The Maverick was nice. People seem to like it. I'm not a movie person. I'm not a hater, but I don't watch that many movies. I can't even think of the last movie I seen in theaters. It was probably like 6 years ago. I'm so uninterested. I'm gonna sound like a grandma now, but all that Batman, Ant-Man, Catman, it's like, get over yourself. You know? Dude, did you see the Suicide Squad 7? It's like, no, I don't care about any of the superheroes anymore. I'll watch a cartoon. I'll watch Tom and Jerry. I'm that old. I sound like I'm 100 years old. Whatever. Someone said we're all from Africa. Maybe. Let's see. I watched it free on. Well, I'm not even gonna put your name. You don't want to admit that, bro. Though. You know, you don't. If you watched it free online, you don't want to put it in the comments. Tina said, always learning from you and appreciating. Yeah, I'm not asking people to agree with me. I don't. You know, I understand what I'm saying today is not like it's like wildly unpopular, but that's just how I feel. In order to persuade me, you'd have to really show me like evidence and stuff. But I got it. Someone said, I heard it was a military recruiting movie. Well, I think that's kind of part of like the movie industry, right? There's always propaganda. It's like, yeah, isn't there like a CIA or an FBI movie where it's like The Rock and Kevin Hart? I got to look that up because let me see. Kevin Hart, The Rock, what is it? FBI, CIA. Central Intelligence. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and Kevin Hart. It's like, ooh, the CIA, and Chris Rock, like Kevin Hart's like, I'm funny. It's like, is that how it works there? I don't know. There's always an element of propaganda with movies. That's why I think I don't like movies. I'm not trying to be a hater, but I feel like they're socially conditioning people all the time, and it's like it just kind of creeps me out. I don't know, I'm weird. Like movies kind of creep me out. Not all of them, but like a lot of them. Everyone's like, no, just watch it, and I'm just like, I don't know. I'm sure it's funny, but I'm such a movie stick in the mud. Someone said, let's see. Florida is the best state. What are my thoughts on the Prime Minister? I'm going to keep this short since, you know, the comments are rolling in a little slow today. But Amy said, what are your thoughts on the New Zealand Prime Minister? I don't like her. You know, she seems pretty evil. She seems like very devious. Like her facial expressions are like psychotic. And, you know, policy-wise, the fact that she helped lock the country down over like, I believe one COVID case, they were trying to get to like zero COVID. She's a total psychopath. So I'm not a fan of her. And I think she just scares me. Like I don't know how to say that word right, but physically her like when she like smiles, her whole mouth, like, it's like Grinch style. She's like, she just like reminds me of like an evil jack-o'-lantern, you know? It's like, she's like, lockdowns. And you're just like, you know, like she's like AOC, you know, like she would be an attractive lady if she wasn't such a psycho. But you know, you add in that, it's just like, she creeps me out. I don't know. Let me find a picture of her. Let me look at it again. I gotta get a refresher. I'll do Jacinda Ardern smile. Let's look at her lovely smile. Yeah, that's scary. And I understand, like nobody chooses what they look like except for the Kardashians, who just constantly physically alter themselves to look like entirely different beings. But besides that, most of us don't change our face that much, but some people here probably have. It's all good. I'm not judging. I don't know. It's not even like her face. It's just her like the way she acts, but whatever. What about Bohemian Grove? Oh yeah, I was just hanging out there. It was dope. Alex Jones was there. Klaus Schwab was there, ripping a bong. Bill Gates was there. He was he's been putting on a little weight, so he was like belly flopping. It was dope. Oh wait, I'm not supposed to talk about it publicly. Shoot. I knew. Klaus told me when he ripped the bong, he's like, bro, don't tell people about it. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Bohemian Grove, I don't know. That was like Alex's come up, you know, exposing that. But yeah, I don't know if they're still doing it or not. Now they just do everything in public. It used to be like, let's hang out and talk in the private. Now they're like, yo, should we live stream Event 201 and then censor people for talking about it? They're like, should we do a fictional monkeypox simulation and then put false on Anomaly's video when he accurately talks about it, you know? Should we live stream the World Economic Forum and, you know, have like Coachella for psychopaths and, you know, call everybody conspiracy theorists when they repeat what we say? So I don't even think they have to do a Bohemian Grove anymore because they just publicly tell you what they're doing and then delete your video when you talk about it. But I'm sure there's some sort of secret hangout. I mean, everybody likes privacy, so where do they go and kick it? Probably Antarctica or something, since no one can go there. But I have no idea. No one goes to Antarctica. That would be the perfect place to hide, right? Don't go here. You can't fly here. You can't come here. There's nothing here, folks. Don't come here. It's like, I bet like Jeffrey Epstein is like just like partying there. No, I don't know. I'm just kind of joking. But at the same time, that wouldn't even be that crazy to me. I just don't want to see this as a headline. It's like, Anomaly says, you know, Jeffrey Epstein is partying in Antarctica. It's like with a penguin. It's like, I was semi-joking. You know, it was just a comedy bit. But appreciate you guys. Have a beautiful day. I'll be back with more videos. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Feel free to disagree. I'm not, I don't have like the craziest hardline stance. That's just my unpopular counter opinion, trying to balance out the millions of negative things. I just want to tell people what the draws are. But once again, a lot of the negative stuff I'm sure has a place. And, you know, I understand even like religion, like Christians versus Muslim. Like if you're Muslim, you know, some people are like, oh, Christians are cool. But others are like, oh, Christians are stupid. This is my religion. And then when it comes to Christianity, you know, a lot of Christians are like, you know, it's not my thing, but I don't judge, or I'm not going to hate on them because that's on them. That's their life. They got to figure it out. And then there's other Christians that are like, well, if you're not me, your religion's stupid. So I guess with Scientology, it's like the ultimate. It's brand new. It's not that old. It's kind of crazy. So most people are hating on it, but it's fine. I just wanted to give my little perspective and background about the psychiatry museum that they have. It's pretty fascinating, and I like great things. It's a great museum. I don't, you know, whether Scientology made it, I don't know, Ted Cruz made it, or Democrats made it. You know, it's just a great museum. That's what I think. Appreciate you guys. Have a beautiful day. I'll be back with many more videos soon. As you can see, I'm back with my mic and everything. Appreciate it.